Dr. Kyle Naylor here with Movement Mentor. Today we're going to be going over how to address your sciatic nerve pain. Now, it can sometimes come from the low back, it can come from the glutes. The idea is just to address everything as a whole. So let's give you some relief. So first off, we kind of want to know what that sciatic nerve is. I'm going to have you come over and check out this poster here. It is the nice big nerve that is stemming from the low back area down all the way through the leg.
Oh yeah, that's nice. That's the spot.
So a lot of times we have issues more so in the glute region, putting some strain and stress and pressure in here, but you can't forget about it coming from the low back. In the low back, you can have disc issues, inflammation in there, whatever it may be. So that way, we're just gonna go ahead and learn how to address both of them. So the first thing that we want to address is the actual nerve itself. We're gonna do some nerve flossing. That helps because if it is tight and there is some compression because of inflammation, tight muscles, whatever it may be, we wanna make sure we floss, meaning that nerve glides in and out of the area, so you're kind of pulling on it back and forth almost like a string, so that way it kind of clears the path a little bit more. Okay, and it's known to give some relief. So what you want to do, take that foot, the toes, put it up on the wall. Okay, so you'll be on your heel, toes on the wall. Keep the leg straight, and we're just going to lean forward and bring the head to the wall. Now, as you do this, you're gonna feel like a stretching / numbness feeling through the back of the leg down into the calf region as well. That's okay. That's the feeling we're looking for when we do this. And so we'll just go back and forth here. If you wanna make it more intense, you'll just step back. So the idea here though is making sure you don't round the back, right? We're not doing this, okay? We're doing this. So I'm coming forward. You see my low back stay straight as I do this, okay? And again, move back if you want to make it more intense. Do the other side because it feels so good. Good. Now sometimes that sciatic pain is just going to be way too irritating. So you may not even be able to stand or even get into that position. So a good way to start addressing it is in the same fashion using a band. Bands make a dance. So you'll just simply lie face up here, but take that band, wrap it around the foot, the toe area, and you're just gonna lean back. Lean back. Now when you lean back, that toe, you wanna make sure it's pulled right. You don't wanna be pointing. You wanna pull that toe this way, and you're just going to move the leg up and down. And so when I bring it up, I'll feel that stretch, that little numbness stretch that I feel in the back of the leg to the calf. And to make it more intense, obviously, you would just go further. Now that we've addressed flossing the nerve and the nerve itself, we're gonna go ahead and look into stretching in a seated position. So I'll come around here. You can do this when you're at your desk, at home on the couch watching TV, whatever it may be, but it's the figure 4 stretch. So this is gonna focus on the glutes and the piriformis, okay? Now the piriformis is a muscle that it's one of your rotators, but that goes across here. Now some people have the anatomy slightly different where the nerve itself can either go behind the muscle or it can go through the muscle, okay? So then that muscle being tight, it's known to give you piriformis syndrome, okay? A syndrome, again, we're not sure where it comes from, but it can start aggravating that sciatic nerve. So what we do is get into this position, figure 4 it, and we don't want to push the knee down at all, okay?
Don't push me.
because we don't want to put strain and stress on the knee. We just want to grab the shin and lean forward. As I lean forward, I'm going to feel a nice, good stretch into my glute, my buttock region. And we're just going to relax here for a little bit. And again, you can do this anywhere, anytime. Now from this point, we can also address the piriformis and the glute, the muscle, specifically using a lacrosse ball. So let me grab that. Now using a lacrosse ball here, we're going to take that, and let me show you the piriformis muscle real quick so you have an idea of where it's at. So we're looking at 27 here, okay? So this muscle, again, the nerve can go in it, behind it, whatever it may be. We're gonna take a lacrosse ball right to that butt. And the piriformis, again, you know, because it can cause some pain, it can literally be a pain in the ass, pun intended. But that's why we need to address it and lengthen it and start kind of pinning and stretching it with this lacrosse ball. So we'll take it, sit on it here. And now what I like to do is, as I'm in this position, I kind of have my leg crossed over. You don't necessarily need it crossed over, but as we're sitting on it, I'm gonna lean toward the side that I'm at, okay? So I'll put it right in the middle of my butt, I'll sit down on it, and then I'll roll and lean my body toward it. Once I'm there, I'm gonna take my leg and I rotate it back and forth. And then from there, I'll move it down about an inch, and down, I mean, I move it down toward my foot a little bit more, and I'll keep doing that all along that area, finding those tender points. And there you go, I just found a good solid one. And I'll just move my leg in and out. And then move it down a little bit more. Now don't spend too much time on it, because it's gonna make you pretty sore if you do. Spend about a minute, 2 minutes on it, and hit it a couple times per day, okay? So that's another way you can address it. Now, now that we've addressed the soft tissue and the stretching aspect of it, the nerve itself, we need to get into the actual motor control of the low back, because whether you have a disc issue in there, inflammation in there, motor control of the low back is important. So that way the back knows what position it's in, so it can not only stabilize, but that way it can take strain and stress off of the nerve itself. So one way we do that is gonna be a cat-cow. So cat-cow, a lot of you know the big full cat-cows here, where we do it through the full spine. But we're gonna advance this, and we just wanna do it through the low back, because this will not only help mobilize, loosen up the tissues of the low back, but it'll help us gain motor control of the low back as well. Now, gaining motor control is gonna help, because now I know if my low back is in extension too much, I know if my low back is rounded out too much, because now I want to know that it stays in the middle. If it stays in the middle, it's all protected, and there should be no added pressure onto that sciatic nerve. And then from here, we're going to go even further to activating the core, and that's going to start with breathing. So what I do is we'll lie down, knees bent. We're going to take the low back and push it into the table. Now, I need to stress this, because in our society, we suck in all the time to keep that nice flat stomach. It's not what you're doing. You're not sucking into the table. I am pushing my low back. So if I push my low back, you can see how my core even gets thicker, solidifies, right? So I'm involving now the diaphragm, everything around, but I'm gonna involve the diaphragm by breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. The nose is directly associated with the diaphragm, so I'm gonna breathe, all while my low back is continuously pushed into the table. Now when I breathe, not chest breathing, right? I'm filling the lungs from the bottom up. And we do this breathing and the cat-cow for the low back, because now when we stand, when we walk, when we move, when we exercise, we now know the positioning of our low back, right? Because we don't want it here, we don't want it here, we want it right in the middle. Now, because of that breathing, my core is activated. Because of the cat-cows, I have that motor control and that positioning. So now I can move through and take that strain and stress off of my low back. For more information, check out MVMTmentor.com for online training, online programming, just a whole bunch more information. Give it a go. Peace.